Hey guys, welcome back to the Paladins Alliance. The Legend stage did not work out as expected. We had a couple of picks that felt like shoo-ins absolutely capitulate. FaZe, Liquid, and Vitality are the teams that we're kind of looking at there. But we were pretty close. Four picks, and it felt like we were almost there. But the NIP one, turns out they go 0-3, and Big, they kept it close all the way to the 2-2 stage. So well done to them for kind of bucking how I perceived this pick'em stage to go. But the 0-3s weren't very easy to predict in any sense of the word, and neither were really the 3-0s. Bar maybe Furia, you could definitely see a world. So we're gonna shoot for the gold coin because we can still get it. It's pretty doable to get it, especially with kind of like the things that you have to get right, and eventually you will just get a gold. So I'm thinking that we can definitely get it. So I'm going to just start with the quarterfinal picks that I want to go through with. I'm going to start with the Outsiders. I think that they have just a better core than Fnatic right now. And again, they have just such consistent CS that you can always rely on them to perform when they play an opponent that's below their stature. And I think they've already played Fnatic once in the Challenger stage. They've absolutely blew them out of the water. And I think the map pool is deeper, individuals are deeper, system is deeper. And they also just won't feel any sort of pressure when they come onto that big stage, because these guys are ice cold. They just don't feel anything. So I think that the Outsiders should take that quarterfinal. Of all of them, I just feel like that one feels like the most obvious. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but you can definitely clip that after the first quarterfinal is over. But I feel as though that one is the most comfortable one to pick out of all four of these. I'm going to go with Cloud9 here. I can see a world where Mouse pulls out some weird veto, but I think that regardless, Cloud9 has warmed up into this tournament so well. Their challenger stage was very rocky. They should have lost against Imperial, but they really have picked up their pace. Everything that they showed in the legend stage was nothing short of amazing. I just love their CT sides right now. Shiro's on a tear, and now Axile's warming up as well. Nafany had some pop-off games himself. So C9 as a whole has just been really exciting to watch. They should be, in a lot of ways, the team to really watch throughout this tournament, because they've gotten all the warm-up that they need, and as a team that is as individually reliant, I said that in the Legends video as well, I think that they definitely needed it. And so playing all of these maps throughout this tournament has definitely shown that they've got what it takes to come out on top. This next one is very dicey, but I just think that Heroic has got a little bit more playoff experience as a core as opposed to Spirit, and I don't think that there's as much pressure on Heroic upon themselves this time around, because honestly their tournament results moving up to it, bar the showdown, weren't necessarily the greatest, but I still think that Heroic showed some pretty promising signs throughout the Legend stage. And overall, again, they have a deeper map pool, I'd like to think, and I don't think that I'm impressed enough by Spirit, just because I think you can look at how Maui Snake portrays Team Spirit, but I only think that they're good on only really two maps, and that being Ancient and that being Vertigo. Every other map in the pool seems very meager, and if there's anything that you can tout Heroic on, is that they've got a very deep map pool, and so that even if it goes to 3 maps, I still think there's a world where they pull out all the stops and they get the job done in the quarters. I don't think that Spirit is going to run it back, especially against Liquid and how the veto that they had against them. I don't think you're going to get a very similar type of veto against Heroic, so that's why I'm going to lean more Heroic side there. Fury and Navi, I think this is definitely the one that everyone's most interested in, because I mean, you have that crowd factor, and it's truly energized how Furia likes to play the game, and it's showcasing that they can bring that aggressive style when they have that energy behind them. But I think you have to look at the teams that they've beat to get here. They weren't the most impressive, they weren't the most jaw-dropping, and I believe Navi is the first top 10 opponent that they have to play on their route here. And that kind of worries me, because yeah, your energy and your type of game can show up against teams like, a Gamer Legion or a Big, but how is it going to fare against a Navi? And I'm not really sure if that's definitely possible, because you can't get under the skin of a team like Navi like you can under maybe a Big Clan. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, and the Rio crowd, especially in the arena, is going to be completely different, and it's going to be a completely different environment. There's no way that Navi can overcome it, and it's just an environment that we've never experienced in esports before. But history still suggests to me that Navi can handle business here, and I've got to go with my more analytical side here, and I'm going to go with Navi to go through the quarterfinals. So now we have two semifinals. 3 out of the 4 CIS squads are here, and it is honestly a very interesting state of affairs for CIS Counter-Strike. Just that we've got such a depth in talent, depth in team success, and that we can get to this point. But let's dive into Outsider C9. I think this one is very interesting because I think that this game is much closer than it might seem, simply because neither team bans Nuke. And I'm very interested to see if anybody floats Nuke if we get to this point and we do get that C9 Outsiders semifinal. I don't know which way that veto would lean. Individually, you still have to go towards C9, that even if there is some kind of bluff and we go to a Nuke decider, I would still pull out all the stops that C9 could come up with a big win here. Obviously, all of these match victories that I'm suggesting here are all based off of C9 not mentally collapsing. I feel like they've gotten past that just due to how they performed in the Legend stage after the mental collapse, so-called, that they had to dig themselves out of in the Challenger stage, and just showing that kind of growth is leading me to believe that mentally and on paper, both of these signs point to C9 coming out on top. But I will say that there is definitely odds of Outsiders coming out on top on that top semifinal, and seeing them reach just yet another major final as a core. That would be absolutely insane for James and his legacy as an IGL and an AWP player. I'm going to put Navi to go through against Heroic. There's something about this matchup that Heroic just can't stomach and can't get through. It feels psychological, and yeah, there has been situations in recency where Heroic have come out on top, but in my opinion, I think that there's this edge that Navi has in terms of psychologically, and in terms of just how these specific players play against Heroic. They play like a completely different team. They play like a team that knows that they expect to win, and Heroic plays like they're struggling to stay within these games. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Navi, and I'm thinking that we're going to run back a game and a series that we've been wanting and touting as rivalries for ages now. I will give you the caveat that I was talking about this rivalry in a PowerPoint format a year ago, that I was just so enthralled by this rivalry. It was such a deep-rooted one. They haven't played each other this entire year, bar the Legend stage, and C9 actually came out on top. And I think that we've had a lot of stomps from Navi once they've hit LAN, and we haven't had that same kind of toe-to-toe nature of C9 against Navi, unlike the beginnings of the online period, and where Navi was still trying to kind of find their footing with their new roster, with flaming out the door and bit in. But at the same time, everything points to me saying that Navi is going to win this tournament. They have a pretty easy route in terms of the opponents that they're playing specifically, that I think that they should be a shoo-in for the finals. But my heart, it wants C9 to overcome all the odds, overcome and say that, hey, look, IEM Dallas wasn't a fluke. We found a way to break through that mental barrier. We found a way to bottle Axile's streaky nature. We found a way to make Shiro a world-class player on the biggest stages and win against the biggest teams. Mind you, their Legends run was an absolutely impressive one. A win over FaZe in the 0-0. A win over Na'Vi in the 1-0. And then I believe, what was their 2-0? Don't stick with me here, because I actually do want to remember this correctly. C9. Yes, Heroic, a 2-0 over Heroic, which is, again, a very impressive one just in the nature of how they won that series and on the maps that they specifically did it on. That insane T-side against Heroic on that Inferno, it just felt like they could do no wrong. And for that reason, I'm going to go out on a whim, and I'm going to say C9 wins the major. I don't think that this is going to be the right prediction, but it's one that I wanted to get to this final point and say, look, I can't get the diamond even if I get this grand final correct, but if I get this quarterfinal and semifinal picks correct, that it doesn't matter and I still get the gold. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a heart pick, a little bit of a head pick throughout this bracket, and I'm going to lock it in here. This is going to be my pick'ems for the 2022 IEM Rio Major, and I am very excited to see how this absolutely unpredictable major is going to go. Who knows? Maybe all these quarterfinal picks might be wrong, because with how this major's been going, it's been a very interesting one to say the least. So I hope you guys enjoy. I've been lessened on the content just because I have been watching all of these games, and I just love just trying to gestate and take all of it in. So I hope you guys understand. I should be on for a watch party alongside Thorin for one of the semifinals, so look out for that. And other than that, after the major is complete, we'll be back to regularly scheduled NA podcast. I know Fi's been busy with a lot of things himself. And after that, who knows? We're going to have maybe a rescope on the horizon, stuff like that. Definitely coming your way. So stay tuned. Twitch.tv/Paladin with a 1. I will definitely be trying to stream more. I wanted to stream a lot during the major, but I couldn't actually get around to it. Probably going to be doing some demo reviews just of all of these tournaments and these matches that have happened in preparation for another video on how whatever team won this major tactically did it. And yeah, that's kind of all the stuff that I have in the pipeline. I know I've been a little bit wishy-washy, but definitely in it for the long haul. So stay tuned. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content and all the pick'ems, because I certainly have. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.